Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Harry Fling Wrestling. I am your host, Harry Fling, and today's topic of the day, we'll be talking about the second longest running weekly episodic television show in all of professional wrestling. What could that be? I'm talking about Smackdown. Ever since 1999, Smackdown has produced over 1,000 episodes, and many of them are great, many not so great. It all depends on the time period you were watching. I started watching Smackdown, even the pilot episode, which my brother and a friend of his went to in April of 99 at the New Haven Coliseum. Their ticket stub said Raw is War, because at the time they didn't know that they were going to try out a new show, a new concept for a show. Not even a concept, but just a new name. So they went to Smackdown, and it was taped alongside Sunday Night Heat, and I think Shotgun Saturday Night in New Haven. And that was the formation, the merger of the corporation and the corporate ministry. The corporation and the Ministry of Darkness. It was the merger, which later became the corporate ministry. So the pilot was there because the management hadn't decided if they wanted to run the show every week. So it was a test run, so to speak. That's what a pilot is of any television show, television production. There were red ropes, a square Titantron, which later was revamped to blue ropes to fit the blue logo, followed by an Ovaltron, a Titantron in the shape of an oval, and a ramp, and that was the original Smackdown logo from 1999 to 2001. And of course, in 2001, 2008, we had the breakout fist. Then it's been HD ever since, different variations of an LED formatted screen. But that's neither here nor there. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 best matches of all time on the brand. And SmackDown's always, for the most part, been the workhorse brand compared to Raw. Raw was always more show than anything else, more the entertainment side. SmackDown really focused on the core of what we're about, which is professional wrestling, especially the fall of 2002, at the height of the Ruthless Aggression era. You had the SmackDown 6. Edge, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Chavo Guerrero, all having great matches with each other. Fall of 2002, and Paul Heyman was the man behind booking those shows, and those are just incredible matches. We're going to talk about one of those matches just a little bit. So I picked 10 matches from the last 26, is that right now? No, 27 years. Almost 27 years of SmackDown. Thursday night, Friday night, what have you. And no particular order, but I'm just going to go down the list and talk about these matches and see if you like them or not. And definitely watch them, because I wouldn't be talking about them, and I wouldn't be saying watch them. I wouldn't suggest you watch these matches if I wasn't going to be talking about them today. So here we go. My favorite SmackDown match of all time brings us to the date of May the 31st, 2001, from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Chris Benoit, the hometown hero, challenging Stone Cold Steve Austin for the World Wrestling Federation Championship, the WWE Championship, better known as now, today. So this match was incredible. Not only the hometown crowd behind Benoit, Jericho and Benoit were hot contenders for the belt. They were the tag team champions in the spring of 2001. Austin was kind of on his own as a heel after Triple H was injured, and the injury prevented the continuation of the two-man power trip. That was great stuff, by the way. Wish it would have lasted a little bit longer, injury or no injury. The quad tear injury to Triple H. Now, Austin was on his own, and Benoit wanted a shot at the title. And it's surprising to me, since Chris Benoit died, and we don't want to promote him because of what he did, I will say this. I cannot believe that he's never won the WWE Championship. He's been the World Heavyweight Champion. That was his only world title, his sole world title in WWE before he committed such atrocities in that double murder-suicide. But never got his just due as far as being the WWE Champion. Never the Holy Grail, if you will. That is the Holy Grail of this business. And he challenged for it on multiple occasions. So in that match, the best part about it was a great match, technically speaking. Chris Benoit's technical prowess was complemented by Austin's brutality in the ring. Austin was a full-fledged heel at this point in time. Mr. McMahon was in his corner, I think, or he had his backing anyways. The best part was Benoit giving 10 consecutive German suplexes to Stone Cold, and I don't think I've seen anything done like that since then. 10 consecutive German suplexes. Ugh! 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 My goodness, I only did 3, but, I'm not even doing it right. I don't have anybody to perform the maneuver on. But you could just imagine, oh my God, it was like artwork there. You remember the analogy I made of the ring is a canvas and the wrestlers are, the artists here? It's artists at work, folks. And this is just another perfect example. But sadly, Benoit came up short and Austin retained. And I was actually a big fan of the heel Austin. It sort of rejuvenated my interest for him because I was a Rock fan when Austin was gone most of 2000. And then when he came back, I guess I was kind of ready for something new from Stone Cold. So the heel turn was a fresh change, though I wish it did not happen in the main event of the greatest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 17. That's another story. But nevertheless, it happened, and I thought it was an amazing run, especially in the spring of 01. The summer, then the comedy with Kurt Angle, that's great too. But man, Austin was so maniacal here, like I'd never seen before, and it really showed in this match, the brutality and the fierceness coming from the Rattlesnake. Austin ended up retaining, but notwithstanding, that's a phenomenal match. Go back and watch it. May 31st, 2001, Smackdown. It was still on Thursday nights. It was taped on a Tuesday, which is probably May 29th, and then aired on 31st, Thursday nights. So, great match. Please go back and watch it, and you won't be sorry. Next match brings us to November the 7th of 2002. Excuse me. This is for the WWE Tag Team Championship, 2 out of 3 falls. Now, this was the belt that was created, those belts were created exclusively for the SmackDown brand from 2002 to 2010, the WWE Tag Team Championship. They do not have the lineage that Raw's World Tag Team Championship had from 1971 to 2010. Those are 2 separate lineages of tag team belts, folks. World and WWE are the dividing factors, not Raw and SmackDown like they did in the late 2010s. That was pathetic. Anyways, the champions were Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit defending against the challengers, Edge and Rey Mysterio. Now remember, SmackDown 6, this is one of those matches. It led up to that awesome triple threat tag team elimination match at Survivor Series in 02 with Los Guerreros, Eddie and Chavo, being the opposition to even out the sides in a triple threat match. Hey, that's kind of ironic because it's kind of a misnomer because you're not evening out something that's divided by 3, but we're not here to talk about math, so forget that. Action was nonstop. They were going all out with the bumps, notwithstanding the German suplexes, the Angle slams, Rey Mysterio with his high-flying arsenal, and Edge with his agility. Everybody complimented each other one way or another. And there was a great build-up to Survivor Series of 2002. And they played this promo theme that went very well. It was called Fall from Grace. And if you watch these build-ups to these matches that take place on the PLEs today, it does not have the same feeling. It doesn't feel the same. The music doesn't engage you as much as it once did. So here's a sample here. It's only 1 minute and 10 seconds, so I'm going to play the whole thing. Okay, here we go. 2 out of 3 falls. WWE Tag Team Championship. Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit defending against the challengers, Edge and Rey Mysterio. So Edge and Mysterio win the first fall. And then Angle and Benoit need to capitalize so they don't lose 2 straight falls. Edge was caught in the ankle lock. He had no choice. He had to tap out. Now we're tied at 2 apiece. They evened out the sides. Edge and Mysterio won the first fall. Angle and Benoit won the second fall. But wait a minute, Rey Mysterio with the 619 on Benoit! And he's bouncing off the ropes. I think he's got it for the cover. 1, 2, 3, and the new WWE Tag Team Champions. This Sunday at Survivor Series, triple threat tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Championship with Los Guerreros, and we've added to the occasion. Michael Cole and Taz even calling this, did such a great job. They did this match justice, as would King and JR would do on the Raw side, on the Raw brand. Man, the excitement was unparalleled, and at 13 watching this, I never felt more, what's the word I'm looking for, overjoyed to see a new set of tag team champs than I did that night. And these were makeshift teams. Vince McMahon was never big into actual tag teams, which I'm going to get into later because the last match I'll give you is probably the most recent one. That involves some tag teams, so we're going to hold off on that for now. All right, we're going to keep skipping around here. We're not going in any chronological order. Next on my list I have August the 30th of 2011 for the World Heavyweight Championship in a steel cage match. Randy Orton defending against Christian. boy, what a feud this was. So in this match, Christian, I'll never forget, 2-day world champ. Hey, Harry, Christian, 2-day world champ, all the way. This goes out to DJ. Anyways, he won the title at Extreme Rules in dramatic fashion. The vacant title in a match with Alberto Del Rio, ladder match. And then he loses it to Randy Orton 2 nights later on Smackdown. And he's chasing him for the belt everywhere from Over the Limit, Capital Punishment, Money in the Bank. Well, Money in the Bank, he finally wins it under the flukiest of circumstances where he kicks him in the balls. No, Orton actually has to get disqualified. Orton got disqualified, and that's how Christian won the belt. I wish it didn't end. I wish it wasn't so, that things didn't play out that way, but they did. It's probably the worst of their encounters, because that was the night of the best match of the year, Cena and Punk. Then SummerSlam, their best pay-per-view match was that Extreme Rules match, no holds barred, whatever you want to call it, where Orton got the belt back from Christian. And finally, their blow-off match was a special Tuesday night edition of a live SmackDown. I think that's when they started doing the Raw SmackDown Super Shows, or Raw Super Show. Then SmackDown tried to capitalize on that momentum, but these Super Shows were really just to signify the very end of the first brand extension in WWE. So, a lot of brutality, as you can expect from a cage match, and a lot of agility from Christian, technical prowess from Orton. Another fitting pair right there in the ring, and then Christian was just this not a baby face. He was actually a heel. He was this cowardly heel trying to win, with as much debauchery involved as possible. He needs to thank his lucky stars that he was even able to get a world title under Vince McMahon's reign, because Vince McMahon never liked Christian. He thought he looked too much like a rat, and there's this story circulating that anytime Christian was shown on television, McMahon requested that a blue dot cover his face because he thought he was unattractive. Come on, give me a fucking break. I don't get the way Vince thinks, but that's not the point of today's video. So Orton ended up winning, and that was the end of that feud, and Christian went on this whole, not the crybaby role that he did in early 2002, but sort of this heel that wouldn't let trivial matters go, so to speak. So he'd come out every week preceding this match on SmackDown, and he cut the same promo. It's not like me to come out here and complain, which was ironic because he's doing exactly just that, complaining. So the irony in that is just terrific. And Christian's an all-around great performer, Christian Cage. And WWE, it seemed like he could never quite get that brass ring. He was always getting the short end of the stick just when you think he, classed every single title out there. So he's another one like Benoit, should have gotten the WWE Championship at some point in time, but never happened and probably never will, as he's, probably well into his 50s by now as his Edge, so they got to be slowing down at this point in time at this rate. Next match brings us back to 2001, a week earlier from the Austin Benoit match from May the 24th, 2001. And this was TLC 3, or as a lot of people like to refer to it as, the Forgotten TLC match. The new champs were Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit, just beat Austin and Triple H the previous night on Raw. Triple H tore his left quadricep in that match, I believe, and then he was out of action for 8 months, the rest of the year. They defended the belts against Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudley Boys. Now, TLC 1, TLC 2 featured those aforementioned teams. You had a fourth team in the mix, and it was made right on the spot. McMahon ordered it out of malice, and they triumphed. Angle's not his. Benoit and Jericho triumphed in this match, and all the competitors looked great. E&C, Hardys, Dudleys doing their shtick as they normally would in the previous two TLC matches, and then Jericho and Benoit were perfect for it because of their technical prowess, their agility, their speed, and their great usage of weapons that were intertwined in those styles of wrestling. So another thing that complements all the competitors in this match and everything thereto appertaining. So great for them. Next match brings us to the season premiere of Smackdown. And I'm talking about the pilot from April the 29th, 1999. No. I am talking about the season premiere, which aired on August the 26th, 1999, for the WWE Championship, or should I say, at the time, the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Triple H defending against The Rock. Triple H just won his first world title the previous night on Raw in Ames, Iowa, from Mankind. He was supposed to win at SummerSlam, but Austin didn't want to give the belt to somebody new that night. or something. I don't really remember the whole story behind that. Austin's neck was really hurting. He needed to get out of the world title picture fast so he could have the neck surgery. And of all people, our beloved commissioner at the time, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, was our special guest referee. Now, after that night, we didn't see Shawn until May of 2000, until he came back to referee the Iron Man match at Judgment Day with these same two competitors, May of 2000. So, this match, you would have thought HBK was sort of neutral in the beginning because he placated to the faces more than the heels as commissioner. And around this time, Shawn wasn't on TV every week as an on-screen authority figure. A lot of it has to do with his backstage attitude. This is before he got sober. He was such an asshole that nobody wanted him around, basically. So it's like, if we don't need him for a storyline, then don't invite him to come. So they just let him stay at home in San Antonio, and a lot of his work was done via satellite on the Titantron. But this time he actually showed up to the arena in Kansas City, Missouri that night. Oh my God, they were at Kemper Arena. Were they really? I just knew they were in Kansas City. I didn't know if they were at Kemper Arena. Owen Hart's Ghost would have still been there. Oh my God. Anyways, yeah, HBK, the guest referee, is wearing his Texas Wrestling Alliance or Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy sleeveless shirt with his short shorts. They were Adidas short shorts. They're very tight, like biker shorts, and his sneakers. So looking as scantily clad as he could possibly make himself look to be that night. And everything was going great for The Rock until he started to go for the people's elbow, running across the ropes. Then Shawn super kicks him right in the jaw. Oh my God, we have a crooked commissioner! That's what JR said on commentary. Now, JR and the King called that season premiere night of SmackDown. Michael Cole then called it afterwards. Michael Cole at that time said, I called all but 2 SmackDowns from 99 to 08. So anyways, yeah, Triple H retains the belt with the pedigree, and then Chyna was still with him and came out to celebrate. Shane McMahon did from their corporate ministry days, and Shawn's there, and JR, I'll never forget, we have a crooked commissioner! Why, Shawn, why? But they never followed up with that storyline. Shawn just vanished out of thin air, never returned again until May of 2000 to referee the Iron Man match with the same 2 said competitors. So, yeah, I wish it had had more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? I wish there was more of a payoff to that angle, but there wasn't. And this was around the time Vince Russo was on his way out. Chris Kresge was booking the shows. And a year later, of course, Stephanie McMahon took over. This is the creative side of WWE. All right, before I get any more sidetracked, let's go to the next match. This next one brings us to June the 5th of 2003 in the main event for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Now, it was not very often that the Cruiserweights ever main evented a show, let alone Raw or SmackDown. Maybe Heat or Velocity, but that's about it. The Cruiserweight title was exclusive to SmackDown, carried over from the death of WCW, the buyout. And Matt Hardy was the champion. He just lost enough weight to qualify as a cruiserweight. He was a little bit under 225 at the time. Later on, cruiserweights were the most they could weigh was 205, but that was a whole decade. It wasn't until another decade later that ruling was in place. So, Matt Hardy defended against Rey Mysterio, and they were in Anaheim, California, so they were in Southern California, so at the Arrowhead Pond, so Rey Mysterio had somewhat of a hometown backing. They were in San Diego. Was it the Compaq Center? No, I think that's in Texas. I forget. San Diego, the sports arena or whatever. If they were there, it would have been a bigger ovation. But little Dominic Mysterio was in the audience, and how old was he then? He was born 97. 6-year-old Dominic was in the audience to watch his dad win his first major singles title, if you will. It's not a second-tier belt like Intercontinental U.S. title. His first singles title in World Wrestling Entertainment. And the crowd was so hot behind Rey, and they wanted him to beat Matt Hardy at WrestleMania 19, but obviously that didn't happen. And Shannon Moore, the MFer, Attitude follower to Matt Hardy, tried to help in every which way he could with, scathing tactics, but to no avail. Those didn't pay off. So then finally Mysterio hits the 619, he drops the dime, then we have a new Cruiserweight champion, and that's that. Great match, you have to see. Me talking about it doesn't do it justice. All right, we got 3 more to cover here. Let's go now to 2009. This is August the 28th, 2009. Another steel cage match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The loser must leave WWE if he loses this match. CM Punk defending against Jeff Hardy. What a great feud that was, especially kick off the heel Punk and the precursor to the Straight Edge Society. Punk was like a messiah who thought he was better than everyone. He grew his beard out. Beard hadn't quite grown out yet, but the beard was grown out because he thought he was Jesus Christ reincarnated through sobriety. He didn't actually say Jesus Christ on the air, but you could tell just by the way he looked. Seth Rollins kind of did something similar during the pandemic era, but it wasn't about sobriety or anything like that. The whole Christ look-alike thing. So Punk always degraded Jeff Hardy every which way he could because of the lifestyle he was living with the abusing his prescription pain pills, the drugs, which Jeff Hardy, that was a real struggle for him. He's been suspended for 30, 60-day periods. He's been released from various organizations. All those bumps, those swanton bombs off 20-foot ladders led to that addiction. And it's unfortunate because Jeff is a very talented competitor, but doesn't seem to ever be able to stay on the straight and narrow path like Matt eventually got to do, older brother. So Jeff was actually on his way out of the company. So this match was predictable. If you were reading the tabloids, the story, the dirt sheets back then. So we all knew Punk was going to win, and Jeff didn't return to WWE till 8 years later at WrestleMania 33 with Matt. And, of course, he lost the match, and this was actually chronicled on the DVD, Jeff Hardy, My Life, My Rules, which they released right after he left the company. At the time, they didn't know he was going to TNA, and as soon as he went to TNA, they pulled the plug on promoting that DVD because now he's with the rival organization during the ill-fated second Monday Night Wars, mind you. So, Punk wins this match, and Jeff gives this emotional goodbye to the crowd. This isn't goodbye for now. This isn't goodbye forever. This is goodbye for now. A nice emotional clapping and walking up the stage. And Punk continues on with his whole straight edge gimmick, straight edge messiah, and then goes on to feud with Undertaker. And that feud was nowhere near as great as the Jeff Hardy feud, but I'm not going to get into that. All right, we've got 4 more matches to cover. This next one takes place all in one night on January the 7th of 2011, the very first Smackdown of the new year, January 7th, 2011. From Tucson, Arizona. He had 3 great matches in one night. I remember I was in college. I was 21, not quite 22 yet, and watching it with friends. And I think we all concurred that night that it's rare when a show gives you that many great matches. It's probably because they wanted to kick off the new year with a bang. So they put on these pay-per-view quality matches on free TV. The first of which was a last man standing match between Edge and Kane for the World Heavyweight Championship. Edge was the champion. He won it at TLC in 2010. In the eponymous match, the namesake. And what a great last man standing match. They went all the way to the concourse, down the stairs. I don't think they quite made it outside. Would have been warm because they were in Tucson, Arizona that night. And not much action spent in the ring, but this feud had a lot of fuel behind it because of, Paul Bear being supposedly killed off. I didn't like the whole Paul Bear abduction. I was there for that shitty-ass dud match they had at Survivor Series in Miami in 2010. Damn it, Glenn, I put in the caption when I posted on Facebook all those years ago. So yeah, Edge was ready to be the champ here, and Kane, he'd run his course as world champion, and was fairly uneventful reign, really, because it wasn't any great matches, and the promo work seemed kind of forced, especially with that music in the background, and not a lot of great memories of Kane's world title reign then. His one-day world title reign in 98 was better than that, even the ECW title reign in the spring of 08. So yeah, Edge versus Kane. So it was actually great because you needed a match like that. If it had just been a singles match, it would have been so dull. Dull as dishwater, as I like to say. And so you needed these extra elements to add that extra emotion. A lot of alliteration I'm using tonight, by the way. So that match was great. And then a little bit later on in the evening, we had an Intercontinental Championship match. I talked about this one when I did the Common Opponents video back in September, I want to say. Dolph Ziggler defending the Intercontinental Championship against longtime rival Kofi Kingston. And they've battled countless times, more than I can count on my 2 hands, or my 10 fingers, 10 digits. It was probably their best match. Everything just clicked that night for all these matches, and I'll get to the third one in a minute. Ziggler and Kingston. Kingston actually at first won with Trouble in Paradise, and then Vicky Guerrero, who was Dolph Ziggler's girlfriend at the time, manager, she ordered that match to restart, and Kofi, being the defending champ that he is, happily obliged, and he won with a crossbody, which you didn't see Kofi win a lot of matches with crossbodies back then. But man, they exhausted everything they could do, and Ziggler just flopping around, and the frizzy hair looked like Mr. Perfect after a great match. there was something about that match that just clicked for me too. And just go back and see it. It's on YouTube or Daily Motion, if you will. It's hard to find it on a streaming platform these days, as they've gone from Peacock to Netflix and now going to ESPN. So it's very hard to find Raw and SmackDown episodes consistently on a streaming platform at the time of this recording. I hope that changes and it becomes more affordable. I don't like ESPN and the $30, but not getting off topic. Our last match of that evening was our main event of the January 7th, 2011 episode of SmackDown. Rey Mysterio versus Alberto Del Rio in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And they've had some great matches together, starting in August of 2010 when Del Rio debuted and defeated a former world champion, which automatically gave him some great credibility. So enough heat because he actually injured him, I think, a few weeks after that. And so it was supposed to be a lengthy feud between Mysterio and Del Rio. Then they had a main event at SmackDown again in October. Mysterio was out for a few weeks. Then Mysterio got his revenge and won that match. So this was the rubber match, but it was 2 out of 3 falls. And Del Rio was ultimately the victor because he won the largest Royal Rumble at the time, the 2011 Royal Rumble match with 40 competitors in it, before the greatest Royal Rumble in 2018 with 50. Del Rio won this match, and this was canon. The greatest Royal Rumble was non-canon because it didn't amount to anything after Braun Strowman won. But this was canon because it progressed a storyline. He had the right to challenge Edge for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania that year. It wasn't a main event match, it opened it, but it's another story. But anyways, Mysterio and Del Rio, because they both come from Mexico, have very similar high-flying styles. But Del Rio, he's a little bit bigger, so he doesn't fly as much as Mysterio does. He does a lot of enziguris, a lot of drop kicks, a lot of clotheslines. But he's more of a technical guy than he is a high flyer. And technical high flying, I think, like peanut butter and jelly, or, graham crackers and marshmallows and chocolate, s'mores, whatever. So any analogy you can use to compare high flying and technical ability, it just meshes well. That's all I can say. And it did so greatly in this 2 out of 3 falls match. Our last match brings us to just last year, and I just watched this match. I was out doing something last year. I couldn't watch this match because I was out doing something last year and couldn't be home to see it. So I ended up watching it on YouTube from April the 25th of 2025. A TLC match, a triple threat TLC tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Not the WWE tag titles that were used from 2002 to 2010. Actually, that lineage still exists. That is now Raw's World Tag Team Championship, if you follow my drift here, catch my drift here. This was an entirely new belt when it was created in 2016, and it was known as the Smackdown Tag Team Championship. Don't just name your belts after the show. That's just lazy. So then they renamed it the WWE Tag Team Championship. Very fitting, as they did 20 years ago or so. The defending champions were the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Montez Ford fucking deserves a singles push. He's so fucking good. They defended against DIY, #DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who I just realized has left WWE as of December of 2025, is now in AEW. And the other team rounding out this equation was Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, legendary TNA tag team champions, legendary tag team from TNA Wrestling. It upsets me so much that Motor City Machine Guns aren't getting the best push that they actually deserve. They are so fucking good. They're a great high-flying tag team, very explosive. They show a lot of charisma more so in their taunts. They're not great promo guys, but they show a lot of charisma in their movement around the ring, and especially their entrance. Raise your fist! Raise your fist! I can't get that tune out of my head. It's so fucking good. This is in Fort Worth, Texas, and it had everything you could ever imagine from a TLC match. Amazing spots. I think B-Fab got involved. That was the manager for the Street Profits. I don't think B-Fab's with WWE anymore. She might have gotten released. I'm actually not sure about that. Candice LeRae was involved. That's Johnny Gargano's real-life wife. I think she's still employed. They released a bunch of people last year, and I don't remember exactly who at this point in time. And Motor City Machine Guns obviously didn't have anybody in their corner, so they were all alone. But the timing of the spots were impeccable, and everything just flowed very nicely, is all I can say. Dave Meltzer gave that match 5 stars, a TV match which should have been at WrestleMania last year instead of watching the War Raiders and the New Day battle for the World Tag Titles on Raw. This should have been on SmackDown. This should have been on WrestleMania. I don't care what night. Either night would have worked out. 5-star match. Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, #DIY. Ugh. Go back and watch it. It's on YouTube now. Hopefully they don't take it down. I don't know where it's going to end up as far as the streaming platform is concerned. Yeah, and it's funny, I don't watch as much SmackDown just because of the quality hasn't been great in so many years. But if I hear of a match like this, and even if I already know the result, I will still go back and watch it just because I need to give the match its just due. So, let me know what you think. If there's other great SmackDown matches, I'm sure there's a shit ton more that I just didn't cover. But let me know what you think. Hopefully we get a good discussion going. And this has been another great edition of Harry Fling Wrestling. I am your host, Harry Fling. And until next time, everybody, bye-bye.